Welcome back uh, to Blake's Blackbook. Got my conspiracy theory definition shirt on. Um, Trying to be a little more organized in this one. Have a little roadmap to kind of go off of because the first one I felt like I was just kind of rambling and didn't know what I was talking about or where I was going. It was like that the Michael Scott quote um, from The Office when he was talking about David Wallace. I forgot exactly how it went, but he was basically saying how a lot of times he starts talking and doesn't know where he's going and just hopes he finds it somewhere along the way. So that's kind of where I was at. Um, but I think the gist was right. Um, the overall messaging, hopefully, I guess, got through. But basically, this is going to be my podcast about all the shit that interests me. So mostly conspiracies, history, politics, religion, philosophy, movies, um, horror, psychology, serial killers, sociology. I don't know, whatever. Um, but I thought I would try to like tie things together a little bit neater than I did uh, on the first one. I felt like it was a little more chaotic. Um, but basically, my biggest interests are history, politics, and conspiracies. Most of the conspiracies that I'm interested in, like 9/11 or the JFK assassination, things like that, are historical um, and related to politics. So I think that's, the Charlie Kirk assassination, very political. I wouldn't say necessarily historical yet. Maybe there's historical aspects that led to it, but um, either way, I feel like those three things are the epitome of my fascinations, I guess, interests. Um, and I think they're all very closely related and connected in a lot of ways. Um, I don't. History is cyclical. Life, I think, is cyclical, and things just go around and change maybe the form, but things still kind of happen the same way. And from like one of the things I've learned, I would say, I don't know, doing a lot of hand movement. I'm trying not to do that so much because I feel kind of retarded. Um, let me go back a little bit. So earlier this year, I got rid of um, most of my social media, and then within the past few months, once um, Larry Ellison and Andreessen Horowitz and Zionists bought TikTok, I finally got rid of TikTok also. But I got rid of my social media, um, and it kind of forced me to find other healthier distractions other than like social media. So something I'd wanted to do that I was finally able to do um, was start reading more. And so I started reading books about, you know, conspiracies and stuff like that. Like brought my little library here so I can look fancy and show. This is probably one of the first ones that I read, The Great Reset by Alex Jones. A lot of people think he's crazy. He is pretty crazy, but he's also been right about a lot of shit. Like they're turning the frog gay. Like, well, there was logic to that with the um, chemical that's put in plastics that they've done. I think it was atrazine. They've done studies where with like frogs in a lab, and they put atrazine or something in the water, and it like turned them gay or something like that. So I don't know. He kind of predicted 9/11 a few months before it happened. I don't think he was the only one, but um, he's been right about a lot of things, and that one was my, I guess, conspiracy starter kit. Um, but then after that, I moved on to some other ones by Jim Mars. I thought were pretty good. Uh, Figure out how to fucking show it on camera. Oh, it's all black, so it's gonna be hard to. Oh, well, this one's like a show. Try again. But it's called Population Control: How Corporate Owners Are Killing Us. Um, and that one talks a lot about all the stuff they're doing to try to control us, kill us, um, depopulation, all the chemicals in our medicines and foods, and sweeteners, GMOs, water, police state, uh, all kinds of stuff. So that one I thought was really interesting. And then Rule by Secrecy by Jim Mars. Oh my god, I think I lost my camera. Oh, I think I lost my camera. Okay. Oh no, I lost my background and everything. I had a cool background. Hold on. Where's it at? Oh, this is depressing. Oh man, this is depressing. Well, yeah, we'll go back to that. Um, well, either way, I was saying, um, Rule by Secrecy was another book by Jim Mars that I read. Um, Mostly talks about all the secret societies of the elites all throughout history, from um, Sumerians and um, all these other groups that were around during the time with Jesus. I forgot what they were called. It's been a few months since I read it, but there's a lot of stuff in here that's pretty interesting. It's called the Rule by Secrecy: The Hidden History That Connects the Trilateral Commission, the Freemasons, and the Great Pyramids. But it goes back, I would say, beyond the Great Pyramids, because they talk about he talks about the Anunnaki and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty interesting. Um, so I don't know what I was saying. Oh, well, I was just talking about how I'm such an avid reader now, and I'm a genius, and I'm better than most other people because most other people are dumb idiots that don't read. So I'm superior. But um, I was actually at work a few nights ago, and I was on the line. I work in a warehouse, and I was on the line, and we didn't really have any work, and so I pulled out my book that I'm currently reading, um, "The Franklin Scandal" by Nick Bryant. Um, but I pulled it out and I was reading it, and there was an older guy that I work with that walked by, and I mean he's probably in his 50s or 60s, something like that. But uh, he saw me reading, and he kind of like double take, like did like a double take, and then stopped and like looked at me. He was like, "Are you reading?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh wow, like you don't really see that much anymore. Like people that read are, it's like a dying breed." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to bring it back or something like that." But um, it's been it's been nice to start reading and like learning more about things that have always kind of fascinated me, and getting sent down other rabbit holes. Um, like I said, right now I'm reading the Franklin Scandal, which is, I mean, he the way I can put it so far, I'm like I'd say about a third of the way through. Um, the Franklin Scandal kind of revolved around a guy named Larry King in Nebraska that ran the Franklin Community Credit Union, um, and was basically running an Epstein-esque um, PDF ring, um, in his in Nebraska, and to a lot of politicians, like the chief of police. Um, there was like a private investigator that was killed doing research and supposedly got pictures of these high profile people with kids and doing sexual things and all this type of stuff. So he the book so far has been most of um, like a recap, and Nick Bryant has done some or has mentioned some of his own research and interviews and stuff like that. But that was kind of like with what I was saying at the beginning with history and politics and conspiracies kind of tying together. Like this was a pretty big scandal back in the 80s when it was going on, and it was kind of the Epstein of the time, which kind of just shows that it's like I said, it's cyclical. This stuff has been going on for so long. It's not new. It's not something that they just started to, conceive of. Like, the JFK assassination that happened 70 something years ago. And we basically just had a modern one with Charlie Kirk. That was like our modern, I guess, version of uh, a JFK assassination. But a lot of this stuff has been going on for a long time, and nothing changes. Uh, they constantly find ways to distract people and draw their attention away to irrelevant, meaningless things. Like nowadays, or most people, or it has to do something with like trans rights or like or trans bathrooms or something like that, or I don't know what's some more like conservative thing. Like there's things that are both sides, left and right, Republican, Democrat, try to use to keep citizens and people in society um, under control. I mean, it's not really there's not really another way to put it. Which I mean, I kind of get. You like part of the job of the government is, I guess, to control society, but keep things together, make sure there's not chaos and anarchy. But the problem is we don't have in the United States, we don't have the type of government that a lot of people think we do or grew up thinking we do. Um, like we're not in a democracy or republic really. It's an oligarchy that's ruled by the elites, and it's closer to fascism than anything with all the intermingling of corporations and billionaires basically being the ones in charge of everything. Like I forgot how I heard it explained the other day by someone on a podcast about the difference between like fascism and communism, and like he explained it really well. I'll have to try to find it. Um, but our government is not helpful. Doesn't do anything positive for people for the most part. I mean, obviously it does. You can't make generalizations. Obviously, it does some good, but it's pretty hard to think of an example. Um, I don't know. I mean, all the homeless people everywhere, all the people in debt, student debt, medical debt, our healthcare system sucks. The economy's crap. Wages haven't gone up in God knows how long. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. Minimum wage has been the same for like 30 years or so. I don't know. I'm not the best with numbers. I have the general picture, but sometimes I forget the exact statistics. So I don't know. Um, yeah, it's it's just wild. Um, and I don't know. I think it's obviously planned um, to an extent. Like it's not random the way things work out and seem to always benefit the people at the top. whether it's tax cuts or new laws or Epstein files not being released and exposing that we have, all these PDFs, billionaires running the country, running the world, not even the country, the world. Um, that's something else I learned about in another book I read, Transformation of America, the true life story of a CIA mind control slave, by Kathy O'Brien, and the guy that helped her escape and recover her memory, Mark Phillips. I don't know. Some of these books, I swear, they sound crazy, and when you read them, some of the stuff you read is pretty crazy. But when you go to multiple different sources and multiple different authors and multiple different journalists, and they're all kind of saying the same things. Um, I don't know. There has to be some validity to it. But what I'm saying with in that book in Trance, um, Kathy O'Brien talks a lot about how she she was sold into MK Ultra, Project Monarch, either way, um, by her dad, who is sending pictures of all kinds of disgusting stuff of her through the mail, got caught, and then basically made a deal to like hand over his daughter for this program, this mind controlling, mind slave, sex slave operation that was going on in the 80s, which the 80s was with the Franklin scandal, the whole Iran Contra. There was a lot of stuff going on with under the Reagan administration and Bush, and um, Dick Cheney was a real shady character that was involved in a lot of that stuff. And from the book she talked about, they were all involved in some very horrible, disgusting Bill Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein esque, if not like worse things. Um, like Dick Cheney, when he died, I was happy that he died. Obviously, I've seen the movie Vice with Christian Bale that kind of exposed me to some of how fucked up he is. But then in this book, Trance, by Kathy O'Brien, it really, really made me happy when he died. Uh, I hope he's burning wherever there is. Um, hopefully if there is a hell, that's where he is. Um, but the same with like George H.W. Bush. He was a monster and like ran the CIA and was a vice president and president, which I've also come to realize president is kind of it's a shitty position. Like they're not the top guy. Like a lot of people have always thought they are in America. They're kind of like El Chapo was for the cartel, or like Pablo Escobar. Like they're the front man that everyone sees and thinks is in charge, but they're not really in charge. They don't have power or authority. I mean, clearly, if you look at how the country's been run ever since the assassination of JFK, you can tell that he was the last one that actually was trying to be a president, and that's what got him killed because he had some balls, and well, he liked to use his balls in other ways too, but he had some balls, so he was trying to go against the grain and got whacked. And Trump seemed like he was going against the grain. Um, that's why I thought they attempted to whack him. Um, Seemed like that was a good sign. If they're trying to kill you, you're doing something right. Um, but I don't know. He's turned out to be a disappointment with a lot of the things we were hoping for. Or I say we, but like people that supported him, especially people like me who were more independent, libertarian, in the middle. Like I was really hoping that some of the stuff would change with like the wars in Ukraine and Israel, but now it looks like we might be starting a new one with. I mean, they've been trying Israel, and they've been trying to start one with Iran for decades, but they're still trying that. They're trying to do the whole weapons of mass destruction thing like they did after 9/11. They're trying to do all that with Iran. Um, then now it looks like we're getting closer to starting a war in Venezuela or something like that. So got that to look forward to. That's great. The economy hasn't showed any improvement as far as I can tell, which I knew or heard going into the administration that tariffs could cause some ill effects, I guess, at first or for a while. So I try to prepare myself, but still sucks. Um, yeah, the Epstein files, that's been a disaster. JFK files, I don't think were even fully released. He said something. There was the RFK files. That was one of the main reasons RFK Jr. joined his ticket was because the RFK files were supposed to get released. I still haven't heard shit about those. Maybe I'm just not like looking well enough, but I'm pretty sure nothing's came out with those. Um, but it's all just theatrics. It's all just a game that they're playing on. It's a game of 9D chess, and they're like 7 moves ahead of us. Um, I feel like with the internet and social media, people are starting to kind of hopefully catch up and um, uncover some things and wake up and realize some things. Um, hopefully, change some things. But um, yeah, this. Oh, I originally started talking about this book, Trance. So Kathy O'Brien basically talked about how the whole thing with mind control it wasn't supposed to just be for the individual. They were the CIA and all these other like NASA and all these other um, corporations or entities that were working towards uncovering mind control and different aspects of mind control, how to do it, how to cause it. A lot of it was trauma based, seemingly, um, but it was supposed to be go beyond the individual. It was supposed to be on a societal level. And I mean, there's certain ways that they have learned to traumatize nations or the nation, the world, I guess, maybe in a sense, like 9/11. That was a mass trauma event that anyone who was alive, people who have seen it since then, like watch the videos, I'm sure it can't compare to actually being alive during that time. I'm sure and cognizant and aware. Like I was only a few years old, but that was a mass trauma event. And then what happened? Everyone gave up their privacy and rights and all this stuff for the Patriot Act because we have to find and catch terrorists. And the only way they can do that is by having access to all of your texts and emails and calls and your get into your camera and look through it. Like it's it's ridiculous. Um, after that was a big thing, Pearl Harbor. That was another mass trauma event back in the 40s that, or in 41 that um, definitely kind of did the same thing. It sparked the public to want to go to war to, kill the Japs or whatever after they bombed Pearl Harbor, even though the same way as 9/11, our government had some foreknowledge and just seemed to ignore it or let it go, let it happen, whatever. So, um, that's wild. And then most recently, the Charlie Kirk assassination was a pretty, I would say, mass trauma event for a lot of like me. I wasn't even a fan necessarily. Like I didn't listen to much of his. I didn't listen to his show really. I didn't. Um, I would just see clips kind of here and there and stuff. And when I was younger and I was more, I guess, progressive, liberal, whatever you'd want to say, I didn't like him as much. I disagreed more, but the older I've gotten, the more I've learned, um, the more I've come to despise a lot of aspects of our government. Um, I started to kind of like understand or see some of his points as reasonable. But my biggest thing with him was always um, his unwavering support for Israel. And come to find out, after he's been assassinated, um, he, you know, seemingly was starting to turn against Israel. And there was text messages of him saying he wanted to, or he was going to leave the Israeli cause because the donors were bullying him and like they, were basically fitting this stereotypes um, he said the Jewish donors are fit the stereotypes or something like that. But um, I don't even know where the hell I was going with that. Politics, religion. I don't fucking know. My nose is stopped up, so I'm concentrating on not sounding like an idiot and also staying on track. Oh, the Charlie Kirk assassination was another mass trauma event, I would say, because a lot of people saw it, saw the clips, saw the video. Um, People that supported him, people that didn't support him. Like it was pretty messed up, and there was just so much weird stuff around that. But we're supposed to just, they there's always some reasoning for whatever goes on that the elites want us to see. I don't know. I sounded really weird when I said that. Just because we don't know the reasons for why things are done or things happen doesn't mean there's not a reason. Um, and I think that's the case with a lot with like say the Kirk, Charlie Kirk assassination, just because it's the most comes off the top of my head the most easily. But um, yeah, those there's just so much weird stuff. Like I don't understand how how people can go along with narratives that they're given by people that have lied to them constantly, the government, people that have said one thing and then done the other over and 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 over again. Like, I mean, I feel kind of stupid for this election, for this past election, for even voting. Like, actually having hope that something would change, and of course not. So, like, I don't even know if I want to vote anymore, or I can't see it happening for the foreseeable future unless there's some sort of you know independent candidate or something like that that I could actually would get behind. But even then, like I still wouldn't trust them to be like not bought and paid for or something, like unless it was someone like Thomas Massey or Marjorie Taylor Greene, even though she just or is going to be resigning from Congress, which sucks. I feel like people like them, even though they're more Republican and conservative, whatever, they're they're more um, they're more moral, I guess you would say. They're in. I mean, not. I don't want to say they're moral in because they're politicians. So I'm sure there's some shady stuff behind the scenes that they still do or whatever. But for the most part, they're the ones that are actually trying to get shit done that people like me want to get done. With the release of the Epstein files and actually like all this stuff with um, the budget. I know Thomas Massey was upset about um, all the big beautiful bill and stuff like that, and he's getting primaried by Donald Trump because he's pretty outspoken and ballsy, but he had issues with the big beautiful bill because there wasn't enough budget cuts. Like literally all the money that Elon Musk supposedly saved us from with Doge or whatever, saved the country or discovered was like waste, fraud, abuse, whatever. Um, it just got moved over to the Pentagon. So the military, of course, now I think is getting like $1 trillion a year from like 800 billion. So God knows we need more, you know, guns and ammo and bombs and stuff that we can sell to Ukraine or Israel or, try to use in Venezuela or, you know, go over to somewhere in freaking Africa for no reason. Like it's just all retarded. Like, it's crazy. So I don't know. I feel like that was a good little good little second episode. I'll stop there for now and see what I can come up with next. But as the great Candace Owens would say, everything is fucking gay.